Is AI's next big investment story moving from software into the physical world? To break it all down for me, I'm joined by Brendan Ahern at KraneShares. Brendan, thanks so much for joining me.
No, thank you for the opportunity.
So I've been looking forward to this interview because we get to talk about humanoid robots a little bit here, and it's a term that we've been hearing more and more. But for advisors who haven't gone deep on this yet, what's the case for why this is an investable theme right now?
We're seeing this evolution from industrial robotics due to the advancements in artificial intelligence, where we're basically taking a humanoid robot, which is really like a remote control car, it's almost like a toy, but when you embody it with artificial intelligence, it's like nitrous oxide. It literally takes what's really a toy into an economically viable tool, and we're really just on the precipice. This is very, very early innings, but this is going to scale very, very quickly. It's happening as we speak. It's maybe a little out of sight here in the US, but in our travels to Asia, you actually are experiencing this trend as we speak. It's actually happening, and we think, again, this is very, very early innings, and really the AI trade doesn't really mention the robotics, but we think that's changing. NVIDIA recently announcing that they're using a Unitree, a Chinese humanoid robotics maker, as their platform for their software and technology efforts within the space. So again, very, very early stages from an investment thesis as well as an adoption.
Well, we certainly need to talk about KOID then, because he's made an appearance, I guess if I'm gendering AI, robots, but the robot has made appearances here at Edge and other events, and you launched KOID that captures the humanoid robotics and embodied AI ecosystem. What makes this different from just buying a broad tech ETF or even a general robotics fund?
I mean, in general, there's very little overlap, particularly for US tech, because this is a global trend. So it's not just US technology companies, it's Japanese, South Korean, Chinese companies. It's auto parts makers, both here in the US as well as in, say, Germany and elsewhere, that are going to be adopting their practices and making auto parts into humanoid robotics parts. So it's a very global trend. Again, traveling to Asia, the two main Tokyo airports, Narita and Haneda, they actually are putting humanoid robots out onto the tarmac to help with picking up and moving luggage. So some of the countries that face some of the demographic challenges are much, much quicker adopters than what we're seeing here in the US. But here you see and read a little bit about Boston Dynamics, which is owned by Hyundai, Tesla with its Optimus, but in Asia we're seeing they're much, much further along in terms of actually the number of humanoid robots they're making and then actually putting them into use on a daily basis.
Well, I think it's coming for us.
Yes.
So they may be ahead, but it's certainly coming. But I have to ask then, where does KOID fit into client portfolios? Where and how are advisors actually using this?
Well, it's part of either a thematic overweight or a satellite position, versus, say, traditional asset allocation. KOID itself is equally weighted across 50 companies that we believe are the leaders in the space. Obviously, this is a new industry, so picking the winners and losers is going to be very difficult. At the same time, this is not a US-centric, a US-only story. It's very global. We actually see the highest adoption rate from some of the use cases actually happening in Asia because of demographics there. So picking the winners and losers is going to be really hard. Yes, Tesla is going to be successful, Boston Dynamics, but you have a whole host of companies in terms of rare earth suppliers, technology providers, auto companies evolving into humanoid robotics companies.
And we obviously talk about AI a lot in the context of software, but KOID is really about AI moving into the physical world. So how significant is that shift, and how far along are we actually?
It's happening, as we're going to demonstrate here at the conference. We're going to bring an AI-enabled robot, and it just amazes people because, again, this goes from being a remote control car into something that can interact with you, hold a conversation, and you're seeing the applications. Just think about healthcare. You have older folks that want to live alone. Who's watching them? Who's making sure they're taking medicine? Having a conversation with them. So healthcare is just a very easy industry that you could see how humanoids can have a real effect. At the same time, there's a whole host of industries in terms of manufacturing, in terms of delivery, and where again, you're seeing these use cases. It's actually happening mainly in Asia at this point, but we really think it is a global trend.
Well, it's certainly a space to watch. Brendan, thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you.
For Wealth Management, I'm Shannon Rossick.